Welcome viewers, welcome to the third video of BioGuide. Already you people have given a very good response to my video. Thank to all of you for watching my last videos. Today we are going to discuss about another important topic. As I have already discussed in my first video which modules you have to cover. Among them, one of the important modules is methods in biology. From this, in every year questions will come. Not only that, these techniques has to be known because after cracking NET you are going to introduce into a new laboratory where you will, maybe some of you will work in the field of molecular biology. So therefore these techniques are very much important to know and learn. So it is very difficult for me to explain the entire thing in a very limited time period, but still I'm trying my best to cover those portions which generally comes in CSIR NET. For example, each year we can get a question on restriction mapping or restriction enzyme related questions. So today we are going to discuss on that topic. So what are restriction endonucleases? This definition I got from Lehlinger Biochemistry. You can get from any other molecular book. You can take the reference from Watson or Weaver or anything. So we can see that actually the things are, these are enzymes. So why they are restriction enzyme? They are restriction because the thing is, first of all, what is their principle? Their work is to recognize a particular palindromic sequence within DNA, and they can identify those sequences and can cut the specific bonds in between these sequences. They can break the phosphodiester bond in between the sequences, and thus they can cleave the DNA. This is their major work. Now, why they are restriction? The name is given. This is because in bacteria, when these viral genomes are going to be entered, the bacteria contains these restriction enzymes and they can cleave the viral DNA, and thus they can save themselves from the entry of viral DNA. So they restrict the entry of viral DNA using this enzyme, and from this the name restriction enzyme has came. So there are three types of restriction endonucleases which are designated as 1, 2 and 3. So type 1 and type 3 are generally, they are large enzymes. They contain multi-unit complexes and they have two activities, endonuclease and methylase activities. And the type 1 restriction endonuclease, they can cleave the random base within the DNA, which is more than 1000 base pair and from the recognition sequence. And the type 3 generally cleave the DNA about 25 BP from the recognition sequence, and they move along the DNA in a reaction that requires the energy of ATP. So basically what do? They cleave the phosphodiester bond in between two nucleotides. Okay. One thing I want to mention here in a very short, that we within our body also we have restriction enzymes. So if we have it, why not our own DNA is getting cleaved? This is because we have the methylation mark in the restricted site. So the enzymes, they can recognize those structures, but they cannot cleave the methylated portion. Therefore, our own DNA is protected from the restriction enzyme. Now coming to type 2 restriction endonucleases. Generally type 1 and type 3, as I have already discussed, they require ATP. But type 2 restriction endonuclease, they don't require any ATP and they can cleave within the DNA recognition site. One thing I must mention, why they are called endonuclease. They are endo because they can cleave within the sequences. Other than endonuclease, there are another group of enzyme named as exonuclease, which generally cleaves the DNA at either at the two terminals, either at the 5' or at the 3' end. But here, endonuclease, they cleave at the within the sequence, within the DNA. So now coming to two type of cut they can make. One is called staggered and another is called blunt cut. Generally, some restriction endonuclease, they cut on the 2 DNA strand, leaving 2 to 4 nucleotide, which is unpaired. As a result, part of the cut portion is complementary and double-stranded, and there is one single-stranded overhang at any other sides. This type of cut is called staggered cut. It would be clear after I will show you the picture. And in the case of blunt end, no unpaired sequence will be remaining. For example, here you can see some of the recognition sequences I have shown here. These are very important. You should learn this in any molecular biology book. You will get these sequences. It will help you to learn about those. Now, as I was talking about this staggered cut wala thing, the thing is, see here, this sequence. This is the particular DNA double-stranded sequence, and in which you can see there is a cleavage site of EcoR1. EcoR1 restriction site. Say, first of all, I should tell you what is palindromic sequence. You can see here the sequence is GAATTC, and its complementary sequence is also this. So if you read this sequence from left to right and from down this to this, both the sequence you are reading the same. So this type of sequence, when you will read from left to right, again right to left, the same sequence will come. This type of sequences are called palindrome sequence, and most of the cleavage site of the restriction enzyme are palindromes in nature. Now when they actually the EcoR1, it can cleave the phosphodiester bond between this G and A. So when they are cutting this G and A, they are ultimately giving rise to this type of structure. See, here in this particular sequence, the unpaired portion here, this portion up to this, they are paired. But you can see there are overhang of TTAA. And here also when it is being cut, there is AATT. This is the overhang. So this type of cut, where one overhang is there, is called staggered. While in the case of this PVU2, it cuts in between the GC and CG of this sequence, CAG, CTG and CAG, CTG. So when they are cutting here, it will generate this type of no overhang, simple cutting. So like this, we can understand that there are two types of cut. One is staggered and another is blunt cut. While staggered cut, the ends will look like this in a DNA, and in the case of blunt cut, the ends will look like this. As overall, our DNA can look like this. Then they are cut with both a enzyme which will give staggered cut and blunt cut. This type of ends which are created after staggered cut is called sticky ends. Why they are sticky? Because when they get complementary sequences in this place, it gets easier for them to attach. For example, like this. Now another thing, here two staggered ends have been shown. So in a single nucleotide, means in a sequence like this, we can do more than one restriction enzyme can find their own respective recognition sequence, and they can be digested with using multiple restriction enzymes. So one particular sequence may have many restriction enzyme recognition sites, and it is very helpful while cloning. Because in this case, we can get many, means within the insert also. Suppose we are cutting a particular DNA with this, and we are trying to join this area with another DNA, which is complementary to this sticky ends. And there also we can get a number of recognition sites. So I am very briefly today, I will not going to explain the cloning part, but still because we are within this restriction enzyme, so I am just simply explaining the thing. The thing is, if you want to clone a particular DNA, cloning means you want to make more copies of the same particular part of a DNA. Suppose you are going to clone a part of gene. So how to clone? Clone means you rapidly or want innumerable copies of that. So in order to do that, basically you want to replicate that copy. Now, if you want to replicate a particular stretch of DNA, you need an origin of replication. Now, origin of replication can be found in other DNA also. So, for that, in order to get an origin of replication, we often take that insert of the DNA and we join that DNA with another particular DNA. Now, the DNA which contain the origin of replication and which will help to clone my desired DNA, that DNA is called vector DNA. There are so many vector DNA, plasmid and other YAC, BAC and others. Those I will discuss in a later video. But today I'm just talking about plasmid, which is a extra chromosomal circular DNA present in bacteria. They are very much rapid in replication and they have origin of replication. So within that circular DNA, if I cut that DNA with one particular restriction enzyme, and again I cut my desired DNA with the same enzyme, we will get the similar type of overhang, and then we can join them using ligase enzyme. Now while joining them, we will insert this type of DNA in which vector DNA and my desired DNA are joined together is called recombinant DNA. And recombinant DNA can be inserted into any cell, in the bacterial cell of course, and we can get huge number of copies of the DNA. So this is the very basic of cloning I am telling today. So restriction enzymes are required for cloning purpose. In detail, cloning I will discuss in any other video. Now there is a question, how much frequent is a particular restriction site within a genome? Suppose this depends on how long is your recognition sequence. For example, in the case of BAMH1, it is a 6 nucleotide sequence that this enzyme can identify. So as we all know, there are basically 4 nucleotides in our DNA. That is adenine, thymine, guanine and cytosine, 4. So according to that, the restriction site of BAMH1 on an average will be found once at every 4 to the power 6, that is 4096 BP after the sequence. So this is very important because this type of question comes. So you will have to see how long is the recognition site, and 4 to the power, that number will be your answer. Next. So restriction mapping is the process. Suppose you don't, in a huge large number of means if your sequence is big enough, then you have to cleave it into smaller fragments, and by seeing the fragments length, you can identify you can map the DNA. Suppose you don't know, for an unknown segment of DNA, it is easier for us to break the DNA into smaller fragments, and then we will identify the location of the breakpoint, and thus we can get the particular structure of total DNA. So this is called restriction mapping. Now on this restriction mapping, many questions come in CSIR NET. For example, this one has come in NET 2017. What is this saying? This is just saying that there is a coding sequence, a person want to clone a sequence of 630 BP. Which is downstream to a bacterial promoter 500. The promoter of a bacteria is 500 BP in length. So he want to gene sequence was isolated from SMA1 fragment whose recognition site is CCC GGG, and in this particular, suppose this is the whole thing. This is this portion where I am showing. This is the vector backbone, and this is my insert gene. The insert has to be inserted into this particular portion. This promoter, according to the question, this is 500 BP in length, and this gene total is 630 BP in length. So now the question is, if you double digest this using a hint3 and a EcoR1, what fragments would you get? So for this, there is a one hint is given, that is EcoR1 cutting site is located 30 BP downstream to the start codon. So from these all information, first what we have to do, we have to draw the structure. So here if you see the structure, this is the actual structure. This is the entire DNA. If we insert this portion within this, so we would get this type of structure in which from the beginning to this portion up to this is the promoter, which is 500 BP, and from this point to this end is 630, which is our gene. And this portion from the start codon to this, there is a recognition site of echo R1, and the remaining is the vector backbone. So if you cut this using this, so what we are getting, we are first getting a cut at this point. So here already it was 500 and here it is 30. So altogether we are getting 530 BP. Now from 630 already 30 BP has been cleaved. So the remaining will be 600 BP. So 600 BP fragment we will get. So we are getting basically two fragments, 530, 600 and another fragment which is the vector backbone. So if you see from the options, option A is correct. So we are getting 530, 600 and the vector backbone. Here is another question which is very interesting and I like the question. They have told in an experiment a PCR amplified fragment in a cloning vector was digested using this enzyme. Here is the recognition sequence and this. So, as I told in that diagram, that one end was cut with a staggered cut and another end was cut with a blunt cut. So similarly in this they are also telling the same. Now they want that what primer we have to cut with which enzyme to get a compatible end which will ligate with the vector backbone. So for this, what we have to do, we have to write whatever in the option the restriction enzyme sites has been shown, those we will show. So here we can see this XBA1, EcoR1, SAL1 and hint 3 sites. So all the sites as it was written here, in this form, there is a way of writing, and the writing way is you will write this, suppose this is T and this full. So this T will be one side and this A will be complementary to T and the remaining will be the overhang in the case of staggered end. Here also this A is there. With this A, this T will be complementary and this portion will be overhang as I have written here. A to T and this is overhang, A to T and this is overhang. Like this in the other enzymes also I will write. In the case of blunt cut, there will be no overhang. So among them, and this is the vector backbone. From where I got the vector backbone, in the question it was mentioned. This is the vector backbone. This also I will write like that. C to G, there will be complementary and this will be overhang, and CCC, GGG. So I have only written C to G and this is the overhang and CCC, GGG. Now my main point is I have to find the complementary to this sequence. A, G, C, T, it's complementary I want to get. And from all other thing, I can't get any complementary to this except the option C. In SAL1 site, I can get exactly the complementary to this thing. Not only that, here it ends. This ends with a CG and here also it ends with a CG. And only in this one, we are also getting a GC at the end. So this is the best compatible primer which actually complementary to my cutting side. So thus we can find the particular restriction enzyme. So only this is very easy. You have to just write and then find the complementary one. Now another here we have same type of sum, a little bit twisted. The thing is here also like the previous one, it is a vector with a insert. So this is the vector in which this is promoter, this is one gene, and within this, in between this GST and terminator, one insert has to be inserted, and this insert contains 3 restriction site, BAMH1, EcoR1 and PST1. PST1 is at the end. What in informations are given? The gene, the insert is of 2 kb length and this total vector is 3 kb. And then there is a hint 3 site which is 500 BP downstream to the first codon. Now we have to digest this enzyme using two enzymes, HindIII and DAMH1 and HindIII and PHT1. So in this, what fragment you should get? Here are some options given. So among this, which option is correct in which we are getting the correct fragment? So let's see. You can see here will be one cut and here will be one cut. So we will get one insert of 3.5 and one of 1.5. So with H plus P, we are getting 1.5 and 3.5. And if you only use BAMH1 and HindIII, so one will be small fragment of 0.5 and another will be 3 plus 1.5, which is 4.5. So with H plus B, we are getting 4.5 and 0.5. So in this question also, if you see H plus B, as I told, 0.5 and 4.5, here we are getting only in the option C that particular structure, and in H plus P also I am getting these two, 1.5 and 3.5. So option C is correct. Thank you very much for listening till the end of the video. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Hope you will do very good in net. If you have any queries, please give me in the comment section. If you like my video, give it a thumbs up. And if you want this kind of video more, please subscribe to BioGuide. Thank you. Have a nice day.